Ruby Bridges was born on September 8, 1954, in Tylertown, Mississippi. At age 4, Ruby and her family moved to New Orleans, Florida. When Ruby was 6 years old, she was one of 6 children that passed an exam allowing black children into white schools. On November 14, 1960, Ruby Bridges showed up for her first day at William Frantz Elementary School. She was the only one out of the 6 children to attend the school. Ruby and her mother were escorted by marshals to William Frantz on the morning of November 14th. As they pulled up, people were lined up and down the streets and in front of the school. Ruby describes the scene as looking similar to a Mardi Gras. As her and her mother exited the car, the crowd began to throw things and shout hateful chants at them. Ruby and her mother kept walking right up to the school as if nothing was wrong. Ruby was frightened by the crowds, but kept walking like a little soldier. But as soon as they entered the school, they saw white parents pulling their kids out of classes and dragging them out of the school.
All teachers in William Frantz fled when Ruby entered the school. They all refused to teach this little colored girl, all except for one, Miss Barbara Henry from up north in Boston, Massachusetts. Miss Henry decided that from the day she started at William Frantz that she would make it her mission to teach Ruby and make her feel safe. Since no parents wanted their children being in classes with a black girl, it was only Ruby and Miss Henry in the classroom every day for a year. Although Ruby was alone, Miss Henry conducted her class as if she were addressing a whole classroom full of kids in order to make Ruby feel more comfortable and normal. Ruby and Miss Henry grew very fond of each other, and Ruby liked going to school with her every day, despite the horrors she faced walking in and out of the building. But she still felt lonely without any other classmates. Miss Henry was the nicest teacher I've ever had. She tried to keep my mind off what was going on outside, but I could never forget that there was no other kids, said Ruby.
Aside from Ruby's individual struggles at school, the Bridges family suffered for their courage. Avon, her father, lost his job, and Lucille, her mother, was told that she was no longer welcome as a grocery store customer. Her sharecropping grandparents were evicted from the farm where they had lived for a quarter century. Her parents also struggled with Ruby's ability to adjust to this new school environment. Some of the things said by the hateful protesters outside of William Frantz Elementary School every day really frightened Ruby. She took them very seriously, and her parents did not know about it. One of the people Ruby distinctly remembers was a woman who threatened to kill Ruby every day as she entered and exited school by poisoning her food. Because of this, Ruby only ate packaged foods and none of her mom's meals, in fear that this woman may have somehow poisoned her food. At lunch, every day when Mrs. Henry would leave the room, Ruby would throw her sandwiches that her mother made her away. It took some time, but eventually Ruby was able to get over this fear. But it was yet another struggle to overcome for both her and her family.
Her first year at William Frantz was definitely a hardship for Ruby to face, between the hateful protesters, teachers, and lack of other children in her classes. But when Ruby returned after summer vacation in 1961 to start her second year at William Frantz Elementary, the protesters were gone and her class contained over 20 other students, some of which were African Americans as well. She had a great time throughout the rest of grade school and went on to finish grammar school at Frantz and attended an integrated high school. After graduating high school, Ruby wanted to attend college, but due to her parents' divorce, had no one to guide her through the college process. Ruby, being the first Black American to integrate William Frantz School, paved the way for others, including her 4 nieces, who attended the same school years after Ruby walked those very same halls. In 1999, at age 45, Ruby Bridges established the Ruby Bridges Foundation. The foundation promotes and encourages the values of tolerance, respect, and appreciation of all differences. The foundation's goal is to create change through education and inspiration of children and to eliminate racism. The foundation's motto is, "We believe racism is a grown-up disease and we must stop using our children to spread it." Ruby remains an activist in the fight for equal rights.
The early 1960s marked a time for equal civil rights for all. Ruby Bridges played a major role in gaining equality and awareness of civil rights for education. She gained the respect of Americans across the nation as well as advertised the unjust ways of segregation. Ruby Bridges will forever remain a symbol in American history of bravery and determination in defeating racial segregation. She is an important part of the civil rights movement and of our country's history and has paved the way for integrated schools across America.